Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Tonight, our extra special guest is Kristen McCall, pediatric kidney patient, Berger's disease patient, two-time kidney transplant patient, and a new mom. So our guest tonight has one of the coolest kidney stories I've ever heard. So I had to have her on so she could talk to us about it. Christy's a forensic criminalist, was diagnosed at the age of 14 with Berger's disease. Unfortunately, this led to her kidneys to go into a total shutdown. She was on dialysis for 8 months before she received a kidney from her father. Christy had that kidney for 19 years before it failed due to repeated episodes of chronic rejection. Christy had to go back on dialysis in 2019. In 2019, she found a live donor, Catherine, and underwent her second kidney transplant at Emory Transplant Center in Atlanta, Georgia on January 25th, 2022. After a long period of recovery and focusing on improving her health, Christy became pregnant, and she and her husband, Anwar, were blessed with a beautiful baby girl, Leah Catherine Trejo, Trejo. Did I pronounce that right, Christy?
Trejo. Leah Trejo.
On July 7th, 2022. Please give a warm welcome to our good friend, Christy McCall. Hi, Christy. How you doing tonight?
Hi, Uncle Jim. I really appreciate you having me on the show.
Oh, no worries. Happy to do it. Did I state everything correctly in the introduction?
Yes, sir, you did. You did a good history.
Please discuss with us a little bit about where you grew up, your educational experience, and your employment experiences.
So I am from Greenville, South Carolina. I don't know if the audience can tell from my accent. And my educational background is I have a bachelor's in biology, I have a minor in chemistry, and I have a master's in pharmacogenomics from the School of Pharmacy in Manchester. And I currently work as a forensic chemist, forensic criminalist, in which I analyze suspected drugs that come in, and I tell the officers what they are, and then I go and testify.
Okay. As I understand it, you're a married lady, correct?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been married?
We are going on 7 years.
Oh, wow. And your husband's name, I'm sorry.
Anwar Trejo.
Okay. And you recently had a baby. What is her name and current age, please?
Her name is Leah Catherine, which is my living donor's first name, Leah Catherine Trejo, and she is 5 months, and she was born on 7/7/2022.
Okay. And my friends, if you check the comments in the original post to this broadcast, you're going to see several things that deal with Christy from her page, Christy's New Kidney Journey on Facebook, and also other sources that talk about Berger's disease and IgA and Emory and everything you wanted to know that Christy's going to talk to us about, but we're afraid to ask. And just real quick, if I can find it. Do your job, Jim. All right, little bit of an overlay, Christy.
Okay, no problem.
This is the coolest picture on Facebook. This is Christy with the new baby.
Oh, this is actually my donor. This is Catherine. So
this is Catherine?
Yeah, that's Catherine. That's she is the girl who gave me my second kidney transplant, and that is her holding my new baby.
Okay, well, let's try this one. This is you, right? Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That Uncle Jim. There'll be a new Uncle Jim in the morning.
Yep, that's me straight out of the hospital. Just had Leah. I was very, very tired.
All right, so we got that much right. Okay. All right, we're back. So let's talk for a minute about the beginning of your experiences with kidney disease. When did you first notice that something was wrong?
At around the age 14. I would say.
How would you describe your symptoms, or what was it that caused you to notice?
Really bad headaches. I started to throw up a lot. And I would eat particular foods and I would throw them up. I'd feel very nauseated.
Okay. Please talk to us about what happened when you were first diagnosed with Berger's disease or IgA at the age of 14. And tell us a little bit about what happened and what was your reaction.
Basically, I was in my doctor's office on various occasions, and they just sort of missed the underlying signs of the Berger's disease. I had blood and protein in the urine, and I was in there about 14 different times, and they just never did a follow-up on it. So the day that I was admitted into the hospital, I had stroke level blood pressure, and basically the doctors came in and told my parents, you have three choices. She could go home and die, she could have a life in dialysis, or you can transplant her out. So they said, would you like to have a biopsy to know what happened to your kidneys? And at 14 years old, I had a biopsy, and they said I had an aggressive form of Berger's disease, IgA nephropathy. Usually IgA nephropathy takes many years to take over your kidneys. But for some odd reason, mine happened very quickly. It happened over about a 3 or 4 year time span. So it knocked my parents off guard. They were just all upset, didn't know what to do. I was upset, crying. I'm 14 years old, going into high school, and I'm thinking about who my next boyfriend's going to be, or the prom, or something like that. And I'm having to go to dialysis while my friends are going living their teenager life. So going to a hemodialysis center was really hard for me at the age of 14. There was a lot of people missing limbs, and there was no pediatric back then. There was not a pediatric hemodialysis facility. So you were in there with all the other people. So yeah, it was a hard adjustment.
Okay. Approximately when were you placed on dialysis?
At the age of 14, I was placed. It was probably around, I'd say in June or July, around that time.
Okay. And you were at in-center dialysis in an adult unit?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Down here.
Oh my.
Yeah, back then, we pediatric nephrology is something new. We didn't have that back in the day. So yeah, you had to go with the adults.
How long were you on dialysis before your very first kidney transplant?
I was on dialysis approximately about 8 months.
All right. When were you listed, and where were you listed for your first kidney transplant?
I was listed in 1999, and while my father was being worked up for a transplant. So my father was a match, and he came through and gave me my first kidney. So that was at MUSC, was my first at Medical University of South Carolina.
Okay. When you went through the testing between the time that you were on dialysis and the time that you were actually transplanted, were there any issues, complications, delays? Were you ever placed on hold at any point in time?
No, sir. No, I think because of my age, it played a pretty big factor in it. And I was doing karate up until I got admitted into the hospital. I was water skiing that morning and was in the ER that night. So the only complication I would say is I had a enlargement of my heart, but it didn't delay me getting a kidney transplant, because once I got on dialysis, it resumed its size.
Okay. It's my understanding that your father donated a kidney to you. What was the date of your first kidney transplant? And I know it was in 1999. Do I have that right?
That's correct. In November.
Okay, November 1999. Hang on one second. See if I can. Now, you mentioned the picture I showed before was you and the baby. I want to show the folks. This is you, right, at about that age?
Yeah. Woo. Yes, that's me at MUSC at the hotel. Yes, that is me at age 14. Wait. I was think getting worked up, or just right after my transplant. I think it's just right before it.
Okay. And then I found this picture on your Facebook page. This is like right after your transplant, I think.
That's correct. That's right after my transplant. Woo.
Pigtails and all.
Yeah, nice and skinny. I wish I could get back down to that size.
That makes two of us.
Yeah, right.
And this is you and your dad at the transplant center.
That's yes. This is my father and I at a local gym, and the Life Center member. That's the name of the gym. Donates kidney to daughter. So yeah, that's where they advertised it that he donated me a kidney.
Okay. Whew,
Yep.
you got that one right. Way to go, Jim. All right. So, oh, wait, I got to get out of that so people can see our guest. That would help, Jim. All right, there we go. All right. So that particular transplant, it's my understanding that lasted you for 19 years. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. For 19 years.
All right. And did you have any issues at that time? I know that it's been mentioned about episodes of chronic rejection. Were there multiple hospitalizations? Tell us a little bit about what happened.
Well, I mean, of course, every time you get a transplant, they say it's a treatment, not a cure. And so, over a period of time, I just noted a rise in my creatinine. So the creatinine just kept on going up and up. And so they would give me these infusions, IVIG, and prednisolone, which is like high doses of prednisone to try to stop the rejection. But over a period of time, about 4 years, it just completely went into complete failure. So the signs of rejections, I couldn't say that I really noticed any, other than I didn't really notice my kidney failure completely until I got around probably about 9%, 8% kidney function. And that's when I really started getting tired. I really started retaining the fluid. And I was hoping that the IVIG and the infusions would slow the rejection, but it just didn't.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. It's my understanding that you returned to dialysis during some period of time in 2019. Is that correct?
I did in January, yes.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about that, because if I remember right, there was kind of a flip-flop that went on when you restarted dialysis. What modality did you begin on?
Well, the first time I was on dialysis, I did PD and so I did PD and hemo. The second time that I was on dialysis, I just did hemo. So I knew what dialysis was like from the first time that I was on. So when I knew my first transplant was failing, I tried to look for a living donor. So I did a lot of advertisement to look for a living donor. I did a sign in my yard. I have like this shirt right here that I wore to help me find a kidney.
Oh yeah, I recognize that.
Yeah, that had all my information on the back. So I wore that, and then I had the news came by, and so luckily the girl that you showed earlier that was holding the baby, she saw a sign in my yard, and she said she's always wanted to donate a kidney, and she was being worked up, and so but I had to get a little bit on dialysis in January 2019 before we could have the procedure, because I was just retaining too much fluid.
Okay. I have a vague recollection in the back of my steamy old mind that there was also a billboard someplace, was there
Yes.
not?
Yes, there was a billboard. Yes.
Okay. And this second donor that we're talking about, this is our friend Kathy Teal?
Yes, Kathy Teal, correct.
All right. Talk to us about the testing process. What happened during the testing process for both of you?
Well, I can't really talk a lot with Kathy since, they kept us separated because I didn't really know Kathy that well. She was a stranger donor. And so anytime there's a stranger donor, they don't bring y'all together in case that she decides to back out or not want to donate. So on her process, I guess she did a 24-hour urine. I did vials of blood. I think it was pretty invasive. And about the same thing with me. I did vials of blood. They did a CAT scan. They made sure my BMI was at the right level. They just make sure both of us were pretty healthy for the procedure. Yep.
Okay. I want to show a photograph
Yes.
This is you and both of your donors, your father and Kathy, all in the same place, at the same time, holding a plush kidney.
Yes, that is us. That is us. Yes, yes, yes. Those are my two lifesavers. Yep.
Okay. Um, I saw a note somewhere, and I remember asking you about this earlier, that somewhere in all this process, you had COVID twice.
Yes.
Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
That I did not have the severe symptoms that that the media sort of played up about being immunosuppressed and getting COVID. I don't know. I think I do it because I try to live a very healthy lifestyle. So I just had a fever. I ran it for like 1 day, and then other than that, losing my taste and my smell. I will say the energy aspect took a long time to come back. And then the second time I had corona, which was in January of when I was pregnant. So January, oh, this past, so 2022 was the second time I had it. I had COVID the second time while I was pregnant. So I had to get infusions, antibody infusions, but it wasn't as bad as the first time.
Okay. Um, my understanding is that the second kidney transplant took place at the Emory Transplant Center in Atlanta, Georgia. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
How far is that from your home?
A lot closer than MUSC. Atlanta is probably about an hour and a half, an hour and 45 minutes. MUSC, when my first transplant, it was about 3 hours to get down there.
Okay. What was the wait time between the time you went back on dialysis and your second kidney transplant?
Oh, not long at all, because I had worked so hard to find a living donor. So they were telling me at Emory that the wait was going to be about a 7-year wait. So I said, I said, I'm not doing that, because walking into a dialysis center, it just brings your overall emotions down sometimes. I mean, I was sitting next to people. I was like, do you think you'll be transplanted? And they were like, oh no, honey, I'll pass away here. So I was just like, I can't be in here for a long period of time. So luckily, I only needed to be on dialysis for a couple of weeks, than compared to my first time that was like 8 months, because I was proactive when my first kidney was failing, that I was sold my need to the public.
Okay. I want to give you an opportunity to talk about the people that have supported you during this period of time. You mentioned on your website you had a donor party with Lori and Ramon Ray Rodriguez.
Oh
Is
yes,
that correct?
Lori and Ray, they are some great people. So my support system going through my second kidney, Ray was great, because Ray really helped me with my when I went back on dialysis. So I don't know, are you familiar with Lori and Ray? Do you know them?
I don't know them. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
I just now met them recently. So yeah, Lori and Ray were very supportive. My husband was super supportive. My parents, of course, were super supportive. And then just my friends on Facebook, oh, they were super supportive. They were just always there for me, pushing me along. My friends on Facebook are like my family to me.
Okay. It's my understanding that this second living donor transplant took place January 25th, 2019, at Emory. Can you tell us a little bit about how that came about? Because your story is a little bit unusual from most of ours.
Like, how's it? Like, it's how that I found. How is it? I'm just wondering how it's unusual.
It's unusual because you didn't get a call. You went in to see your doctor and for a checkup, right? And they found out you were having contractions.
Oh, are you talking about when I went to have Leah?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm jumping ahead. Bad, Jim.
Oh, no, no, no,
Let's talk
no,
about
no
the
problem.
transplant first.
No, no problem.
How did that come about? Did you in fact get a call, or was there something else that went on?
No, basically they worked Kathy up, and we basically had a date set. So the first time I ever met Kathy was before walking in to have the transplant. We had never met face to face before. We had never talked we didn't really talk on the phone. We had never met face to face. So the first time I've ever met her was the morning of the transplant. I was in tears, crying, scared, and Kathy was like, "Let's get this done. I'm ready to donate." So I don't know. I just think it's because I've had a lot of surgeries in the past, and so I don't know. I just do not like anesthesia, but it's definitely paid off.
Okay, great, great. You're friends with one of the friends of my show who's been on a couple of times with me, Dr. Schusterman.
Oh, yes.
Can you talk to us about your monthly visits to Carolina Nephrology in Greenville, South Carolina, with Dr. Schusterman and Dr. Zateas? Is that how you pronounce it? Zatas?
Oh, Dr. Zayas.
Yes.
Yes. So, yeah, Dr. Schusterman's great. I love that he has the cooking doc. He has a channel where he talks about kidney friendly foods and how people who have end stage renal disease can adjust their diet to decrease them going into stage 5 kidney failure. And so my visits with Dr. Schusterman, he's more holistic, I think, when it comes to his approach. Before you get to our situation of needing a kidney transplant. Now, Dr. Zayas, I only had overlap with him when I was going in with my pregnancy with Leah. So he was very involved with when I was pregnant with Leah. So he was Dr. Zayas is through MUSC. So he works out of Carolina Nephrology to help. So because in Greenville they have Prisma Transplant Center that they're starting to open up.
Talk to us a little bit about your recovery period after transplant. I have seen you doing very vigorous physical exercise 4 times a week at 5 a.m. in the morning. I mean, you have a Coach
Yes.
Jones, who spots you.
Yes, Monique Jones. Yes, she's a professional bodybuilder. And so I work out 5 times a week, and I go at 5 a.m. on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then I pick up Thursday and Saturdays. So this morning I didn't get to go, so I went. That's why my face is so red. It's because I just went to a workout at 6. But yeah, I think that I think a lot of times that you need to keep your body healthy because like COVID, my pregnancy. How are you supposed to get through these things if you don't keep your foundation healthy? I drink 2 liters. I drink 2 to 4 liters. I try to a day, and I work out, and I just try to eat very healthy. You know, a lot of people when they're on dialysis, they're on this strict diet, but as soon as they get transplanted, they're just like eat, and then you get the prednisone, and then it all goes to your face, and you just get overweight. And so I'd really try to concentrate on my health and my food.
Okay, let me show the folks for a minute what this kind of workout looks like. This is not the Curves workout where the ladies are raising their arms up every once in a while, right? This is some serious weightlifting stuff.
Yes. Yep. And that was when I was pregnant. Yep. So I was probably about 7, 8 months pregnant. I mean, I have to say that I might be a little bit of a workout junkie. I really like working out. It's like some people go to medicine to make them feel better, but when I walk out of the gym, all my problems are gone. I just feel great.
Awesome.
That is me.
Awesome. Let's talk about your medication regimen, at least that I know about since transplant. I see you on infusion of immunosuppressant meds like Belatacept, 1 time a month. I know you're on prednisone. Talk to us a little bit about your medications.
Well, if anybody's thinking about if they have a transplant and they're thinking about becoming pregnant, they have to take you off your CellCept because CellCept can cause birth defects if you get pregnant while taking CellCept. So they switched my CellCept to Imuran, which is azathioprine. So I take Imuran, prednisone, and I do not take Prograf. A lot of people take Prograf, but I took Prograf with my first transplant, which can be nephrotoxic. So I decided to be on a once a month infusion called Belatacept.
Okay. Here's my
yes, that's it. That's CellCept. Yes.
Yeah. Here's my Myofortic. So
yes, yep. And I was on, how much did I take? I took 1,000 in the morning, 1,000 at night on the CellCept.
All right. So as I recall from our I'm sorry, go ahead, Christy.
Do you take Prograf?
Yeah.
You do? Do you have any of the issues with headaches or tremors or anything with the Prograf?
No.
Oh, that's excellent. Excellent.
No, I have other issues, ulcers, things like that, but no, and insomnia.
Oh,
But
yes,
no, I don't have
the tremors.
no.
Oh,
So I've
excellent.
been lucky that way.
Yeah.
You mentioned to me before the broadcast started tonight that some change in medication led to you becoming pregnant. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yes. So I had two paths in my life. Either I was going to work on my PhD in healthcare genetics, or either I was going to try and get pregnant. So I switched my medication from Cellcept to Imuran, and 3 months later, I became pregnant, which I was very odd because I had never had a pregnancy scare in my whole life. So I just thought that with my kidney failure that I just could not become pregnant. I just thought I've had too many problems in my life with my health, with my kidney failure, and taking all these medications. I probably will never become pregnant, but hey, let's give it a try, you know? So whatever, you live your life once. So I switched my medication, and 3 months later, I became pregnant. And then I also got a acceptance letter into the an interview for working on my PhD. But once they found out I was pregnant, I don't think they were like, I don't think you can work on your PhD and deal with a newborn.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, but it's okay.
Wow.
She's a joy.
Well, we could talk about the politics of that, but your Uncle Jim tries to avoid politics on the kidney broadcast. So, but all I can say is, you do what you think is right for you, and you still want to
Hopefully,
get that PhD sometime.
yeah, maybe I think hopefully later on. But to tell you the truth, being a new mom with a newborn, it can be a lot sometimes. You have to have a support system, that's for sure.
What kind of instructions were you given concerning your pregnancy after your second transplant?
So what kind of instructions were given to me concern
Because I
as
know they made you wait 2 months, right, after the transplant before you could become pregnant.
Oh, yes, you need to be probably about Emory told me I needed to be a year and a half out. Your creatinine needs to be pretty stable. You can't have, fluctuations. And then they will change your medicines over. Of course, you got to get an approval through your transplant team. And of course, if you do become pregnant, they have the transplant registry that I highly recommend that you register with if you become pregnant while if you have a transplant or if you've had one before. I would they're actually tracking a lot of women who've had heart, kidneys, lungs, and finding out do babies have to be born early? Do they need support systems? Do we go the full 40 weeks? So I was a part of that study too. I was the first one, I think, in their study who's had 2 kidney transplants, 37 years old, and on belatacept because they don't have a lot of information about people who take belatacept, the infusion, and who are pregnant. So I'm sort of the groundbreaking on that information. But yeah, I had to have Leah at 35 weeks because my doctors just did not know how to deal with me here in Greenville. They were like, she's a 2-time kidney transplant recipient. We're super scared she might lose the baby. So I think they pulled her under a precaution before things got worse. Me personally, I think I could have gone longer, but it's up to the doctors.
I read on your kidney page that now I'm going to ask the right question. I read on your kidney page that you went in for a checkup and you were having contractions and you didn't even realize it.
Yeah, I was having mild contractions and I didn't feel it. I'm not sure if it's because I've been cut. With the transplants, I don't feel a lot on either side of my stomach. So, because I don't know if but the nerve endings right there, you just don't feel. So they just saw it on where they look at the heartbeat. They were like, "You're having contractions," and I didn't feel it. So they were
Okay.
like, "Come back into the hospital."
Okay. And I understand you were there for about 6 days before they took the baby. Is that right?
Yes, I was in there for 6 days because I was spilling a large amounts of protein in my urine, so they thought I had preeclampsia.
Okay. It's my understanding that your daughter was born on July 7th, 2022. Can you tell us a little bit about that day?
Scary. Yeah, it's scary. I don't know. I think I'd rather be put under next time. But yeah, they did a spinal block, which was scary because they missed it the first time. And then they lay you down and they had to do a vertical C-section because I have a transplant here, my father's, then I have Kathy's here. And so they didn't want to cut across and maybe injure Leah. So they had to cut down so they could open more. So yeah, I was on the OR table approximately about an hour and a half, and then she was pulled out. I mean, I have a video on my phone, but it's pretty gruesome, and Facebook has blocked it because it gets bloody. So
Well, I remember, I shouldn't do this, but I remember when my ex had my son, even though it was 35 years ago, they put me on a stool about a foot off the ground near her feet. And they said, we want you to understand what's going to happen. The mom and the baby comes first. We don't care what happens to you. You faint, you pass out. We're just going to leave you there on the floor.
Oh my gosh. Yes, it's very bloody.
Welcome to the National Football League gym. So, any rate, couple of photos. I think this is your daughter shortly after birth. There's a little sign there that talks about her birth and her weight and all that sort of thing. Cute picture.
Yep.
And this is our friend Christy with her new daughter.
Yep. And then I think if she's up, maybe I can get my husband to bring her in here to see. She's definitely grown from that picture. So let me see if I can. Anwar, will you bring Leah and so that everybody can see her? She's taking a nap, but I'll get her to come.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
Don't cause problems, Jim.
Let's see if she's not cranky. He's gonna go get her in the meantime.
Okay. All right. How is the baby doing, basically? Health-wise?
So far, so good. She's definitely putting on a lot of pounds. She is 13 pounds now, and we're practicing on rolling on her back and on her front. So developmental, I think she's doing good. Of course, I'd like her to stay been a 40-week baby, but 35 weeks put her in the like premature age. She ate every 2 hours.
Okay.
And I had to do formula because since they pulled her so early, I couldn't breastfeed.
Let's talk a little bit about your kidney advocacy, because you're not one to kind of just sit at home and not say anything about what's going on with the kidney world. Talk to us a little bit about the advocacy that you did, telling your kidney story for the gift of life and love for transplant warriors and heroic donors, Jim.
That's a local group that we have that we go and we meet. So it's North Carolina and South Carolina, and it's all people who've had transplant. So I think that people who have transplant, they need that support system. I think when you go see Dr. Schusterman or you go see your nephrologist, I don't think they have the support there. I think when you come in there, it's a lot of facts. Your GFR is this, your creatinine is this, but there's not a support group that you can turn to help you to deal with all the emotions of maybe your kidneys are failing. So I try to advocate for the patient that they need to, get out there and talk to their doctors about, what kind of support systems out there to help me through all this emotional trauma that I'm going through with my health, So I'm definitely there. Oh, here comes Miss Leah.
Okay.
Come here, Leah. Come on. Hello. Hello. What are you doing?
Uh-oh.
Hello.
She's adorable.
She's definitely grown from that picture.
Definitely.
You want to show them how big you are? Hello.
Wow.
Yeah. Say hi. Yep.
I have you given a talk in November to that Gift of Life and Love group.
Yes.
And the thing that I was taken about that, and there's the photograph, you're holding the baby while you're giving a talk to these people.
Oh, yes, definitely. I just want people to know, just because they have a transplant, if they want to decide to become pregnant, it is possible. A lot of the doctors, maybe it's an unknown territory and they advise against it. But here I am with Leah, and it can happen. But of course, you want to make sure that you take care of yourself, you eat well, you work out, or just that your underlying health is healthy before you go forward with making another life.
Okay. I understand you've done some advocacy work for the National Kidney Foundation as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Can you talk to us about that?
It was the Big Ask, Big Give, and it's just talking about how I found my living donor, with the billboard and the TV, with the news coming by and the bumper stickers and my shirt. And so it's basically like, how do you go to your family and ask them about, or how do you look for a donor?
Wow, excellent, excellent. And you mentioned to us the Transplant Pregnancy Registry International. Is there anything else you have to add about that we haven't discussed already?
No, it's just that it's a great group and that they're just trying to collect more information about people who had transplants and who like to become pregnant. So yeah, they are following us. So nothing really other than they have a Facebook group. So it's the Transplant Registry. So if you've had a baby and you've had a transplant, and please, they'd want to talk to you and they'd want to add you to their data that they have. So other than that, they sent me a little onesie for her and everything when I was.
She is adorable. You also have done some work with the Uplift Encouragement groups in Greenville. I think that's some kind of a support group, right?
Yes. So the Uplift, I'm ahead of the chapter in Greenville. So yes, it's people who have chronic illnesses. So we just had a meeting last weekend, and it was talking about the holiday blues. And then we have if you have problems with balancing, or where that's going to be our next meeting, or self-defense classes. Just because you have a chronic disability doesn't mean that, they teach you ways you can to defend yourself. So it's just to encourage other people. Just because they have a chronic illness doesn't mean that they need to wallow in it,
Okay, great. Let's talk about future advocacy plans. One of the things that I noticed is that you have an intention to run the 5K in the 5th World Transplant Olympics in Australia this April. Is that correct?
I hope so. Yes. I've been picking up all the local 5Ks, and I've been trying to work out. And yes, I hope to go to Australia and run. So this will be my first world transplant. Now, I have done the Transplant Olympics for South Carolina before, but this will be my first one in Australia. So
okay. And so the folks can see, this is a picture of you actually doing a 5K.
Yes.
And this is a picture of the event itself that's going to be in Perth.
Yes. That is a long air flight. It's from here to, I think, Chicago or wherever you want to fly out of. It's about 16 hours from there. And then when you get to Australia, it's another 5 hours. You land in Sydney, and then it's another 5 hours.
Okay. Do you have any future plans for your advocacy that we haven't talked about yet?
You know what? I'm just trying to think. No, I'm trying to think of more. I would just love more ways. Like, this is great right here. Your broadcast, I think, is wonderful, about people can learn and learning about other people's stories. I mean, I think your advocacy is wonderful. I mean, I would love to do something like that, to be able to interview other people. That's excellent. I mean, or learn about your story. I think just getting everybody's, it really melts my heart when I hear other people's stories. I mean, if you have any ideas, let me know. I mean, we all need to sit together as transplant people and pull.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. I'll make sure. Our friend Jonathan Traylor is on. He also does podcasts, broadcasts. Earlier, Philip was on. He does podcasts, broadcasts as well. So there are a few of us that do this sort of thing. I happen to use a software, StreamYard, because that's what I started with.
Okay.
And I understand that fairly well. So I'll be happy to send you a link where you can find it if you'd like to start doing your own. And
okay,
if you ever need suggestions, please don't hesitate to drop me a note. In fact, I've been thinking about writing a blog about it. I think I will. That might be a good idea.
I do a lot with like Congress and advocate for advocacy for kidney patients.
All the time.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be interested. I mean, what I can do here in South Carolina. I mean, how can I go down to what do you need, or do you need support from other patients in other states, or what can we do to help the cause?
All of the above.
Well, let me know. I mean, just please let me know if I need to write something or what I can do. And like, what do you, when you go to Congress, what do you push? Like, what's your message?
Well, what I do when I go to visit with one of my members of Congress, I definitely get prepared in advance. The groups that I work with generally have webinars before those meetings, so they kind of tell you what to expect and what they want you to put forward and what they don't want you to discuss. For example, I'm not going to go in and talk about the Living Donor Protection Act and abortion at the same time. I'm going to stick with the kidney issue. They want me to talk about the Living Donor Protection Act. I'm going to prepare a little bit of my talk ahead of time. I'm going to send information to my members of Congress ahead of my meeting with them. Whether it's a virtual meeting or an in-person meeting, sometimes I do both. I will go and talk to them. When you meet with them, you do the bird calls that you've been assigned to do by the advocacy group that you work with, whether it's the National Kidney Foundation, the AAKP, the American Kidney Fund, the Polycystic Kidney Disease. I have PKD, the Polycystic Kidney Disease Fund or group, and you stick to the topic. You make sure that you answer all their questions. You tell them if they ask questions and you don't have the answer, that you'll get back to them, or somebody from the advocacy group will get back with them, and you try to get a commitment out of them that they will co-sponsor the particular piece of legislation, or at least they'll let you know whether it's thumbs up or thumbs down. And if they have issues, to let us know. I have written a blog about that I will send to you so that you have it. Okay. Do you have any final statements or remarks that you would like to make to our audience before we conclude the broadcast? Did I forget to bring anything up that's important?
Oh no, I think you covered everything, and just the message I have to take to dialysis patients is just don't give up hope. To always don't think that this is going to be dialysis. If you decide to stay on dialysis, they have at home dialysis that you can travel with. It's not a death sentence. And if you decide you want to push to get a transplant, don't believe the rumors that everybody tells you about transplant medications. And I've heard a lot of people say, I don't want to transplant because X, Y, and Z comes along with the medications. I mean, you can live a perfectly normal life. So always have hope that kidney is going to come through, and always be your own voice, especially to your doctors. Don't let them talk over you. Always speak up if you have a problem, and always pay attention to your labs.
Excellent. Well, Christy, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming on and talking to all of us tonight and telling your story and sharing video of the baby. Oh my God, she is so adorable.
Yep.
And educating us and raising awareness. I just want to tell you how much we appreciate it. And I will get this broadcast spread around so people can see it. And hopefully, people can learn from your experiences.
Yeah.
So,
and if they have any update, of course, it's Kristen's New Kidney Journey on Facebook. If they have any questions, Kristen. So they want to send me a question or follow my Australian journey at the World Transplants. Or reach out to me if they have any questions. Or I'm always here to help other people out. And I thank you for spreading it for me. I appreciate it.
Okay, and folks, just so you know, the links to Christy's site have been going across the page, the whole broadcast, the banner, so you can find Christy's Second Chance page on Facebook pretty easily. And if you're still having difficulty, contact me, and I'll be happy to share that information with you. So, all right, Christy, I'm going to let you and the baby go. I have some announcements to make about some upcoming broadcasts.
Okay.
I just want to say thank you very much, and I appreciate you taking time. And if there's anything I can ever do, please let me know. I'm happy to help in any way.
Yeah, definitely. I just want you to guide me into Congress. That's what I want you to
All
do.
right, I will do that.
Good.
All right. You have a good night and
You too.
take good care of that little one.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Bye. All right. God, what a great kidney story, huh? So let's talk a little bit about some upcoming broadcasts. Because I've got people that I've been adding all the way up until May now for broadcasts here at Kidney Stories 2. On the 12th of December, we're going to be talking to Sharon Simpson Rouse about her experiences as the founder of Kindness for Kidneys International and her personal kidney story. 12:23, we'll be playing a replay of a broadcast because I know that's close to Christmas Eve. I don't want to be messing people up on Christmas Eve with Wendy's Jeffries Crowder. I just created a kidney page for her. She's a very, very interesting kidney story. She is looking for a kidney donor. We want to help her out. So, check out the broadcast and share it. On 12:30, we're doing a recording of a broadcast with the great Mark Miller. You guys all know Mark. He's got big footprints on Facebook. We'll be playing that actual broadcast in March so that you can see it in its entirety. But I just wanted to let you know Mark's got some interesting stuff going on in his life, and we're going to be talking to our buddy Mark Miller real soon. 1/6/23, we're talking to Karen Edwards. She's a kidney patient. She's seeking a kidney. She's working with Kent Bressler and his crew over at Kidney Solutions. You may have seen a video this week where she talks a little bit about her situation. Your Uncle Jim. We're going to get into details, baby. So you don't want to miss that on the 6th of January. 1/20/23. We're going to be talking to Juan Beck, recently transplanted, very interesting kidney story. Another of the Kidney Solution patients. Juan was a guy that didn't think he was going to get a kidney transplant, almost gave up. And all of a sudden he got V-claw. You know how that is. So just about the time that you've had it, something comes along. So our buddy Juan's going to be talking to us on the 20th. On the 27th of January, we're talking to long-time kidney transplant patient, very active kidney advocate, Alex Jewell. Alex has a stand-up personality. If you've never had a chance to meet or talk with him before, it should be very, very interesting. You do not want to miss that broadcast, my friends. Oh, my God, is that going to be interesting. On the 3rd of February next year, we're going to be talking to Sandra Cuesta, Quesada, about her kidney story. On the 10th of February, we're going to be talking to Shawana and Anthony Mansfield on the broadcast about their kidney situation. On the 17th of February, we're going to be talking to a giant in the kidney community. Philip Jones Jr. is going to be on with us and talk about his kidney story and the broadcast that he's doing and his influence on the kidney community and the tremendous work that he and Trefiro are doing together. And God, I might have to talk for 2 hours that night. The 24th of February, we're talking to traveler Mark Scotch, who does rides for the opportunity to raise kidney awareness and to raise money for kidney initiatives and kidney issues. This is interesting. On May 12th, Maria Gajava, Grijalva, is going to be on the broadcast. Maria just won the Costello Award from the National Kidney Foundation. She's actually picking up the hardware in April, so we'll be talking to her right after those days with the National Kidney Foundation. And after she gets that, she does a lot of work, local advocacy, very, very interesting stuff. Can't wait to talk to Maria. Should be very good. So, please stay tuned, watch this space. We're going to be doing some interesting things. I'm looking for people to talk to. I'm looking for experts, doctors, experts in particular fields to talk to. You know, your Uncle Jim, I try to bring you a variety of things on different topics. So if you've got a broadcast that you would like to do with me, or you've got someone that you know you'd like to see on the broadcast, or some doctor or some expert, don't hesitate to contact your Uncle Jim. So at any rate, I appreciate all of you taking time tonight to come in and talk to us and check out the broadcast, leave comments. Great turnout tonight. So I will be seeing you very, very soon. So again, you don't want to miss out. Watch this space, my friends. Have a good evening.